the grid, stand up. SBC, Black Elvis, Roddy, OG, it's wavy. Look, started from the bottom, so we off the grid. Tryna make it to the top, we soon live off the grid. Had dreams of making teams, I was just a kid. But we off the grid, yeah, we off the grid. On the come up, so we off the grid. Had dreams of the league, we was all just kids. And the bullets from the underground, they often miss. The podcast bringing light, so they don't call it quits. Now pass the rock, I'm open on the 10. They call me wavy in the red zone for the win. Then do your dance on them, raise the roof, we got the fans rolling. Catch a pick and then do it again.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the 9th episode of Off the Grid. I'm your host, the commish, with my boys D-Dub and Roddy. What's good?
Chillin'. Excited this week. We have with us class of 2021 Purdue commit Kordae Sydnor, along with his dad Tracy Sydnor. Just trying to take another opportunity to let you hear it from the horse's mouth. Kid that was very heavily recruited and has landed in a great situation. So without further ado, let's get to it.
My name is Kordae Sydnor. I attend Alondo Prep, and we watching Off the Grid.
Sydnor, who's from Harlem, turned down multiple scholarship offers from Ivy League colleges this year so he could play football at Purdue University in the fall. But he knows most athletes in New York need their senior year on the field to prove their value.
This last opportunity can be like a life-changing experience in their lives. Who knows, a kid can get a scholarship and he probably go pro and stuff like that.
So we back at it again. We got Tracy Sydnor, Kordae Sydnor, dynamic football player, graduating this year from Alondo Prep.
Out of Iona. Iona's cool.
Oh, somebody! Whoa! Did y'all catch that, audience? This guy's changing his tune now.
Iona's cool. How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling all right?
Feeling great, man.
Yeah,
feeling great. Good to be here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
I want to personally thank you guys for taking the time to come up. It means a lot. Definitely was a pleasure to have an opportunity to have spent some time around Kordae when he was a much younger, less dynamic player than he is today. And I don't say that as a slight, but he has come.
Would you say less dynamic? Would you say if you would say less dynamic, then it's cool.
I don't want to say less dynamic. I want to say I wasn't as good as I am now.
Right, you were building your house.
Yeah.
But you still definitely,
talk to me about what it felt like growing up, having your eyes on being a quarterback, and at some point transitioning to just being a really great athlete, and then you can tell us where you landed at.
Learning curve. I mean, I was learning, just trying to find my way. I wasn't putting as much work out as I thought I should have been putting in, but I mean, I knew once I put my mind to it, I would work hard, and I was going to be something great. I don't know where it was going to be, but I knew I was going to be something great. My freshman year, I didn't play. I was sitting on the bench. I was a backup quarterback.
But you was going for a quarterback.
Yeah, I was going for a quarterback, and then my coach was like, "Yo, I want to see you at D-line." And it just took off from there, and I felt pretty comfortable in that position.
Was you feeling that, or did you kind of at first were you saying like, nah, I'm not feeling that, or was you just like whatever?
Nah, at first I was like, nah, I think I could be a QB, but then I was there. I started to make plays there. I was dominant. I was faster than most of the offensive linemen. So I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with this and see how far it goes.
So Tracy, as a father, talk to us a little bit about what your experience was like. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. This project has lasted several years.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Dana.
Oh.
I have to kind of pay homage. Dana was my son's first football coach. Mm-hmm. When that call was made that you want to come talk to us, it was a no-brainer. And so thank you for all of the work that you put in. Because it takes a village, they say. And so and coming from a basketball background, I couldn't help my son because he still to this day know more about football than I would ever know. Yeah, I mean, the Harlem Jets, and you were part of the Harlem Jets, kind of created that environment for him to grow. And the fact that Dana was a great father. Raising his kids, coming from work, that meant a lot to me to see him, still have his day job and put in work with the youth. But as a parent, growing up, you know, you kind of like try to figure out what's most important, and to see my son to develop and grow, because when you're young, you have those you're not developed. But what was important to me at that time was the constant encouragement, and Dana, he embodied that. You know, I saw that. But I mean, to answer your question, Dana, I mean, it was a long road. You know, I just wanted him to go to college for free. You know, and we know that football sometimes is a catalyst for those types of things, and so I felt like my son had the talent and the fortitude to do so. So, you know, getting with the Harlem Jets, coming up along the ranks, you know, having some small success, and like fighting to go to the Super Bowl and all those different things. You know, those small itty bitty crumbs of success, you know, built this self-esteem, and you know, and we have the Harlem Jets and Dana to thank for that.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mom, who was in here for the interview, but you and Mom did a tremendous job with this young man. So first and foremost, you know, for all the kudos you gave me, you talking about maybe 6 to 8 hours a week that, you know, contributed to coaching a young man. You guys were 24/7 parents. So everybody, you know, parents need to hear that too, because as much as we try to do as coaches, man, you guys really set the platform. You provide the landscape that we have to work with. So kudos to you. Kordae was a tremendous young man, and it was my pleasure to do that. Kordae, I want to ask you a question, and I want first you to respond, and I'm going to ask Tracy. Of all of the things that you were told to do to be successful, what would you say is one of the most undervalued things? Everybody says lift weights, get bigger, faster, stronger, be a student. When you look at where you've landed, the opportunities that were afforded to you, what would you say was the number one thing that made most of your opportunities happen?
Confidence. Like, you know, I mean, a lot of coaches tell you to lift weights, you gotta be fast, strong, you gotta study, do all of this, but I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else gonna believe in you. So I mean, I think that was the major thing that got me where I am now, because in the beginning, my freshman year when I wasn't playing, I didn't have no confidence. I was like, oh, I'm black, I'm always saying bad stuff. I was like, yo, I just grinded and got confidence in myself, and I mean, that's what really helped me get here.
I'm gonna give you a shot at it.
The most undervalued, what was the question again?
The most undervalued component that helped create the opportunities that he has today. I mean, he picked Purdue, but he was a pretty heavily recruited guy with some big gaudy names, Syracuse, you know, you can, I know you know the other names, but there were quite a few schools.
You know, the averages won't let you win all the time. Like, failure and success is synonymous. Like, you can't win without losing, and it's that period after he done bumped his head a couple of times to be in his ear, to have the opportunity to be in his ear to help him through those emotions. And I think, you know, what's missing is encouragement, because, you know, there's so much learning and losing that people overlook, and to be able to play sports in the past, but to know what it takes to kind of move people along, and to be that, like, that presence in his ear, I felt like, yes, this is my opportunity to encourage my son when he's down. And I think that was the main ingredient to I mean, because even outside of the football field, there's teenage life. There's, you know, all those other peripheral things that could affect him.
These are real things that young athletes deal with.
I think what both of you guys said is important, but piggybacking off of what Kordae said about having confidence. You went from playing quarterback and then playing DN. I went from playing cornerback to then playing quarterback. So it was different, but I think that was another thing for me too, where like it was a transition, but it was one of those things where it was like, you know, being a quarterback, you gotta have confidence because you're the guy on the field, right? You're touching the ball every play, right? But being able to have that grit and be able to sit down and tell yourself internally, like, I got this, is a really important step in being able to go to college for free and do anything even outside of sports.
For sure.
So I want y'all to understand, right? The question I know was kind of like a tough question, but I wanted to see organically where we would land. The purpose of the question, what I was aiming at was, I asked the same type of questions to people at different places in this thing we call football development coaching.
Everybody says something different.
Your varsity head coach had a very interesting response in terms of what kids need to know or do to create great opportunities. What do you think Coach Spags said was the number one thing that if you do that, your opportunities will be endless? He said be a great student. He said if he could sit a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader down right now, you think you got what it takes to be successful on the next level, what would you tell that kid? He said, tell him to open a book. And I want to talk about that because we've talked about your athleticism, you 250 pounds, 6'5". You know, mom and dad are big people, so that wasn't like a super shocker to the rest of us, right?
That's cool.
We
That's cool for me to know now. That's cool.
But Kordae, you've been a great student all throughout all of this. Don't undervalue that, because the low-lying fruit is always going to come when you put that first. If you were a C+ or B student, I can guarantee you, you would get offers at your size, but the quality is different. So, you know, I wanted to kind of bring that to you because you weren't here to hear Coach Spags say that, but he's a guy you respect and somebody that you know isn't going to lead you wrong.
Yeah, most definitely.
And even a coach that was on here, Ali said something in a little different direction where academics is important, but even just focusing on how sports is also important too. Like there are kids who might have a C+ average or whatever the case, but they're a crazy athlete. So, like you said, it's a different answer for everyone.
And I appreciate how you tied that in because I want to be clear, right? We're never telling people not to be great students. We're also saying that there are some guys who are not as good students as others. We don't want to leave anybody out. So we want to take a great academic kid like Kordae and give him that opportunity to be able to go somewhere great like Purdue. But equally important, you can honestly say over the years you've had teammates that, you know, they can't get with you in the classroom. And it's not a slight, but those guys should still be able to have opportunities also. So, you know, just really trying to change the landscape to say, how are we encouraging the guy that's struggling in this area, right? We talked about encouragement, we talked about confidence, and you know, I just wanted to kind of tie that together.
I want to switch something over real quick. Top 5 Catholic high school teams. I just want to ask, because you still playing, right?
Just digging deeper and deeper.
Yeah, but you got to put them in order though.
I got you.
And this is, you know, hopefully with season coming, and, you know.
All right, I'm gonna say, you know, I end up preppers first. I gotta say that. Second, right now I say Cardinal Hayes. Third.
You saying that because I'm here? Because
No. I'm not saying that.
Respect. I'm just because when you play, it's a different. Like when you play, you know the scouts. So that's why I'm just asking.
I'll definitely say Hayes second because they got a lot of firepower. Third, I'll probably say I'd say Stepanak.
Yeah, I'm about to say if they don't come third, then that's a little.
Fourth, probably Christ the King. And St. Anne's.
Yeah, you can put anybody fifth at this point.
Yeah, shout out to St. Anthony's, man.
A Tulsa.
You know,
it was good in the past, but
I was getting ready to say, man, that you could never fall completely asleep on them dudes. Shout out to St. Anthony's out in Long Island.
Yeah, let's do it.
Shout out to the Harlem Jets. You know, we talked a little bit about the experience there. What would you say was the most memorable thing from your youth football career?
Most memorable thing, Florida. I'll be able to compete for a national championship.
How many times you won?
3 times. I think I won 3 times.
You were younger than me. See, I think I
only
won
it was either
twice.
2 or 3 times. I think.
Yeah, it was 3 times.
Yeah.
So which year though? Because I could pick my year.
One year, both of y'all were there.
That was the year that
14.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Shoot.
But I don't know if that was the year. Whatever year we was losing the first game and we came back, that was my year.
Yeah.
So what year? What?
I think it was 14, 2014.
And what was?
Yeah,
was it 15?
Mike, 14.
14, right? Yeah, because we had the
Mike.
tapes.
What place y'all came in?
We came in second. We did that
In
year.
actual second?
Yeah,
Or-
Second in the nation.
Because I know how Florida gets.
No,
It
we
gets
played
a
in the
little
national
fluky.
championship game.
Nah, I had a fluky Florida. You know, I was in. They told us we was in third, but we really came in sixth. But
Nah, we got receipts, bro. We was second in the nation
I
that
think,
year.
yeah.
see, I went to the championship and all.
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
How much y'all lost now?
I think like 20 points. We played the Michigan team.
I would say, that's the big one. Kind of like know your kids and kind of like pay attention. Sometimes sports is not it, and they're talented in other areas, and so yeah.
Cool. Kordae, as a teenager, 17-year-old kid, grown up in Harlem, wound up going to school up in Westchester. Talk to, some of the up-and-coming guys about what that experience was like, some of the things that helped you make the adjustment, or was it an adjustment? Would you say that what you were accustomed to in the elementary school area in your community from what you experienced in the high school that, let's face it, is in a different socioeconomic area, for lack of a better term, than what you grew up in? As much as Harlem is growing, let's be candid with each other. It's, two different worlds. So just talk a little bit about that experience and how you were able to manage that.
It was definitely like shocking as well to see that different type of lifestyle that those kids live. Me coming up from Harlem and then going into that wealthy neighborhood is like, it's you can really live like this.
And you up there every
day. Yeah. But I mean, I was always a good student in school, so it wasn't really that hard for academically. But I mean, just meeting new friends and stuff like that, and being on a football team, it was kind of smooth. And yeah, it was not.
So it wasn't really that bad for you?
Nah, but I feel like I'm a social butterfly, and it was just easy, nice transition all the way in for me. But I mean, definitely for me, I definitely had to study more. Going to a prestigious school like that, it is a private school, had to study more and really just, I just couldn't go off of my intelligence. I had to actually practice and do what I had to do to good grades and also perform on the field, because it's a balance. And that's another thing, being able to balance academics with football. I mean, going to school from 8 to 3 and then having practice for 3 hours after that, and you got to come home and do homework. So that's something I had to learn. I got it quick because I wanted to be great and I wanted to achieve good things. So I mean, I did it, but it is something that you have to adjust to.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's like those who want to compete and those who want to be something in life, whether it's football or arts or business, is just like, if you're going to be dedicated and you're going to be consistent, then the lifestyle is going to come.
Yeah.
But a large percentage of people, they start, but then there's no finish line.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as you have a finish line, and even if you have a road bump where it's like, all right, now I'm over here, but the finish line is still over there, you can see it, then everything is good.
Kordae, my message to you in closing, I say this to all my players. I don't know if you ever remember hearing me say this.
See if I remember.
My charge to you is, you've had a tremendous amount of success, but you got a tremendous amount of support along the way. In adulthood, you got to pay it forward. It doesn't mean you got to be a football coach. It doesn't mean you have to be a sports coach at all. But it's important to me that you understand that your community needs you to somehow find a way to take your experience and make it impactful for the next generation of kids.
And before I even let you go, I think with him saying that, you saying, yeah, you understand, but you're gonna feel that once it comes. You're gonna, even if you feel it now, like, yo, I think I wanna, help coach, even at the Harlem Jets, or when you graduate at Iona, you're gonna feel some kind of, all right, I want to give back, because even when you at some point you're not gonna be playing, so you're still gonna fall on, you're gonna have the love for it. So I think it's just about being able to say, all right, now is the time where I have to direct my energy somewhere else.
Yeah, I definitely heard you say that before. I mean, yeah. And I'm that's definitely one of my plans, to just come back and give younger kids gyms that I had growing up and stuff like that, because I mean, who knows, a kid might need the piece of information that you give them, and it can be something even better than you. I love to see other people win, and it's genuine to me. And yeah, I definitely want to do that when I.
About that, we appreciate y'all for coming.
Thanks for having us, man.
Appreciate it.
You might not be able to reach it, but
Thanks for having us, man.
Appreciate it.
It's interesting to see a player after they have kind of gone through the complete youth process, and just think back, and after they've gone through high school and remembering what the development was like. And when I'm talking about rudimentary, I can remember this kid just learning the whole numbering system in football. And I mean, football guys know what I'm talking about, but literally stripping it down to saying, when you open up after the snap, open up this way, to seeing a guy, just really excel and perform high on the next level. I think it's important to highlight the slow cooking and the development process for the young athlete, because we want them to be studs day one, but
sometimes it might take a minute.
To me, the best cooking is when you do it slow. It gives you time to develop.
Even when he walked in here, I didn't know he was that tall, 6'5", and that's going to Purdue, so it's great. But even I think like you said, from Harlem Jets and then into high school, we didn't play together, but being on that same organization and knowing that like we said earlier, that determination factor and being able to stay persistent was things that helped Kordae, myself, and a lot of other athletes grow. So I think that's very important to highlight.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sitting there listening to this, I was really impressed by the father. He spoke about not pressuring his other kids, and that's what I want parents who are listening to this to get a feel of and to understand. You can't have a stud on day one, but you have to also recognize when he might just be in the wrong field. I hope people who are listening get out of this situation.
Another thing that I think is very critical, especially for the men in mentorship and coaching, to understand, Tracy was a dad, is a dad, I'm a father as well. He saw value in the fact that he knew I was raising sons, but at no point did I try to be his son's father, right? And clearly in our community, there's a lot of need, there are a lot of challenges and absentee fathers and things of that nature, but it's a very delicate balance, helping a kid, being a leader to a kid and mentoring a kid, but still understanding that doesn't mean that you are their father.
I think even like being a son and a player, it's important to highlight the fathers and the coaches too, because my father was my coach at one point, but I also had coaches who are very close to me and had a lot of impact, but it wasn't like my father. So even like Kordae having his father and guys like my dad and other guys to be able to be around him in his circle was great.
Cool. So in closing, my message to the male community, I'm tired of the optics about what we don't do on a high level. Let's start focusing on how we can be better, how we can take the good that we're doing, exponentially increase it, and control the narrative. Let's control the narrative in our homes, in our communities, with our kids. That's all I got for you this week.
Continue to reach out. Continue to check us out on all platforms. BCOM TV. Appreciate you, brother.
The game, we wasn't from the same hood. The ball kept us off the block, had to try to remain good. Started from the bottom, so we off the grid. Trying to make it to the top, so we live off the grid. Had dreams of making teams, I was just a kid. Oh, we off the grid? Yeah, we off the grid.